They call me Dom Casmurro, but that's not the name my mother gave me. It was an old poet who christened me with this nickname, mocking my reserved and somber demeanor. I've grown into it over the years, retreating into this house, a replica of my childhood home where I've walled myself off from the world. Here, I live among memories, and today I will share them with you. I was born in Rio de Janeiro in a quiet neighborhood. My mother, Dona Gloria, was a widow, a pious and kind woman whose entire world revolved around me. She had made a vow before God when I was still in her womb. If I survived the pregnancy, I would become a priest. This promise hung over my childhood, like a shadow. Though I didn't understand its weight at the time, ours was a small household filled with familiar faces. There was José Diaz, a dependent who lived with us. He had a talent for flattery, always speaking in flowery words, and he often tried to influence my mother's decisions. But there was one person who could see through him, Capitu. She lived next door, and even as a child, she was unlike anyone I had ever met. She had these eyes, large and expressive, like the tide, sometimes calm, other times stormy. They seemed to pull you in, to make you forget the world around you. Capitu was bold, curious, and clever, always challenging me with her words and her laughter. We were inseparable, partners in every adventure. I remember one day, Capitu asked, "Me, Bento, do you think the stars ever get lonely?" I didn't know how to answer, but she didn't wait for a reply. She simply laughed, that mischievous laugh of hers, and said, "Maybe they talk to each other, like we do." It was around this time that I began to hear whispers about my future. José Diaz, in his usual pompous tone, reminded my mother of her vow. "The boy must go to the seminary," he would say. I didn't fully grasp what that meant, but I knew one thing. I didn't want to leave Capitu. When I told her about it, she didn't seem surprised. She just looked at me with those tide-like eyes and said, "Do you want to go?" I shook my head, and she smiled, a knowing smile. "Then don't," she said. "We'll think of something." Capitu had a way of making the impossible seem possible. She wasn't afraid to defy rules or expectations, and in her presence, I felt braver, stronger. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't be so simple. My mother's faith was unshakable, and her promise to God was sacred. As the days passed, the tension grew. I could see it in my mother's eyes, in the way she prayed with greater fervor. I could hear it in José Diaz's voice as he spoke of the honor and duty of serving the church. And yet, Capitu's voice was always there, whispering rebellion, reminding me that my life was my own. I didn't know it then, but these moments would shape everything that came after. My childhood, so full of laughter and light, was slipping away, replaced by a growing sense of inevitability. The path before me was clear, yet every fiber of my being wanted to turn away from it. Looking back now, I wonder, was it fate that led me to the seminary, or was it my own weakness? And what of Capitu? Did she truly understand the forces at play, or was she simply a girl, dreaming of a world without rules? But let's stop here. In the next chapter of my story, you'll see how I wrestled with my destiny and how Capitu's cleverness set the stage for what was to come. Stay with me. This is only the beginning.